open like a window, no window. Look at the video, say yourself that could have been you.
Because they're like,
this is Sanya On-Air.
And everybody on the East Coast calls me Don. I'm like, what is Don?
My mom thought I was on Long Island, but I was at Howard Homecoming.
Ready?
Turn it up.
Let's go.
Welcome, everyone. You are now tuned into another amazing edition of Sanya On-Air. I'm your host, SanyaHudson Payne. And how do I start off each and every single show? You guessed it, I have another great show for you. Coming up in just a few short moments, I have the amazingly talented actor and comedian, London Brown. Now, most of you don't even get to know these individuals by their government names because you think that what you see on screen and what you hear on the radio dial is who they are. Well, if you don't know him by the name of London Brown, let me just say Marvin from Raising Kanan. Don't sweat your girl now. Don't act like you know me now. Who doesn't watch Raising Kanan? Let me tell you something. Every time the clock strikes midnight, I'm tuned in. I'm like, okay, they just uploaded it onto Starz, so I definitely have to tune in so I can watch. I won't give you any spoiler alerts just in case you haven't seen it. But this is season 2. The character of Marvin, it is definitely unpacking itself. We're learning a lot more about Marvin's layers. So I'm really excited to talk to London, not only about his character on Raising Kanan, but he also starred on this hit television series. Well, it was a cable series that I loved. And we didn't really talk about that before, but I remember him from Ballers, HBO Ballers. And he was on the show 1 year ago to the day. And I was so excited to talk about Starz and Raising Kanan that I totally forgot to unpack his role as Reggie on Ballers, which has been canceled, by the way. And I was totally surprised why it was canceled. I wonder if he was surprised too. But do me a quick favor. Before we get any further and I give you the meat and potatoes of this conversation, you got to subscribe. Make sure that you subscribe to Sanya On-Air, which streams across multiple platforms. If you want to find out where Sanya On-Air is streaming, just go to the description section of this episode and you can find out. But you know what? People don't want to read. So let me tell you some of my streaming platforms. Sanya On-Air is streaming on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Alexa, Google Podcast, Amazon Podcast, Buzzsprout, Stitcher, you name it. Sanya On-Air is there. So make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you listen. Make sure you like. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. And if you're watching this on YouTube, also hit the notification button. That way I don't have to be in your inbox. That way I don't have to text you and say, I have a new Sanya On-Air celebrity interview I'm streaming. Once you hit the notification button, YouTube will alert you. You get a little ding. And then you can say, you know what, let me stop what I'm doing and tune in to Sanya On-Air. But let's just take a few commercial breaks and I'll be right back with Sanya On-Air. Stay tuned. When you think of grocery shopping, what comes to mind? Is it answering the dreaded question, what's for dinner? Or I wonder what Lizzo is eating with her fine self. With carts ranging from self-care Sunday to late night dates to Lizzo's own exclusive shoppable cart, you too can select Lizzo's favorite hand-picked treats and products. Boss up like Sanya On-Air and Lizzo and have it all delivered to your home in as fast as 1 hour via Instacart. Minimum purchase of $10 or more required. Offer valid until September 30th using the special Sanya On-Air link. Now let's get to Instacart shopping. Style is a way to say who you are without having to speak. And that's just why you need this super dope Sanya On-Air crew neck sweatshirt. Always remember, that's not your enemy, that's your hater. Shop Sanya On-Air apparel today. Welcome back to Sanya On-Air. So I hope that you shop via Instacart and that you head on over to my Sanya On-Air apparel because I love it. You know, why not walk into a room making a statement? Like I said, too many people are talking, and darling, we just need you to zip it, zip it, zip it, zip it. So London is going to be joining us in just a few short moments, but let me tell you, last night I went to one of the iPick theaters here in New York City, and I saw Woman is King. Darling, I hope I got the name right. Woman is King. Woman was all that. Viola was all that. That's what it should be called. Because you have to go see that film. So I'm talking about it, unpacking it with my daughter. And let me tell you something. The thievery that goes on, the thievery of it all. I'm telling you, when it comes to media, television, film, remember that, remember one of the Wonder Womans, I don't know which one of the Wonder Woman films, I don't know, but remember they were saying that she came from Amazonia, or they were Amazon women? Got that from Africa. Got that from Africa. What don't these colonizers, fluorescent beige people steal? It's just too much. But you have to go see Woman is King. It is so empowering. I just love to see women leading the narrative, women following suit based upon what a woman said, trusting that she got this. It didn't show that she was leading with emotions. As a matter of fact, when one of the characters started to cry, and I don't want to tell you too much about the character because there's definitely a plot twist. When one of the characters started to cry, Viola Davis said, no, there's no emotions when you are a warrior. You got to put that to the side because you got to be a beast. So for all of you women out there, whether you are 10 years old, 5 years old, 50 like me, 60, 70, 80, 90, and need a hearing aid to be like, huh? Make sure you go to the theaters and watch Woman is King. I definitely see Oscars for this. Oscars for Viola Davis and her supporting cast. When I tell you this was something different and refreshing that I've never seen in my entire life, this is a film that you definitely need to watch. What else have I been watching on television? There's just so much content out there. That was my first time back in the movie theater too after the pandemic. Like I told you, if you've been following me on my celebrity interviews, I don't call it a pandemic because if you didn't plan and rebirth yourself during this pandemic, bye, child, bye. Because it was the perfect opportunity. Perfect opportunity. So while some of you were just wallowing in self-defeat, other people were just creating. I'm definitely tuned into a whole bunch of reality shows. As you know, I had Letitia Pearson. She was on Sanya On-Air last week. Amazing conversation, just talking about the evolution of love. What my focus of the conversation with Letitia Pearson was about was she started dating her now husband. They're getting a divorce. When she was like 18, 19 years old, got married in her early 20s, and now she's wondering why it's not working. Because, darling, you're different. He's different. I don't encourage any female to get married in their 20s. You don't even know who you are. You're just trying to get track of your cycle. Can I get an amen in the congregation? Okay. And then I'm going to pass around the collection plate because you can also donate to Sanya On-Air's Cash App. $ Sanya On-Air. So anyway, back to London, but don't get married in your 20s. Don't do it. Don't do it. If Auntie Sanya doesn't tell you anything else, don't get married in your 20s. Don't do it. Because I'm telling you, every woman that I'm talking to nowadays, let me tell you what the narrative is saying. Their husband is walking in on a Tuesday at 8:08 p.m. He staggers in and he said, I'm not in love with you anymore. And I got a new woman. And I'm moving out tonight. just randomly on a Tuesday at 8:08 p.m. You know, in the middle of, you know, just the woman watching Raising Kanan. Imagine you're watching Raising Kanan and your spouse comes in and tells you that they're not in love with you anymore. Recipe for the fisticuffs, because that is what's going on in Raising Kanan. You know, this series on Starz. 50 Cent, he's definitely doing something. He's so creative. I love it. I love it. I love it. I really want to see the overall development of Kanan. That's who the show is after, because if you've been watching Power, you know, Kanan is this menacing creature. He's not even a human being. He's this menacing creature that is just disrupting everything. But Raising Kanan, you see Kanan as this young teenager who is so scared, child. He is so scared. You say boo, you're gonna be like the boogeyman. So I just want to see when he's going to own his gangster. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the evolution of that, the evolution of the gangster man. Because let me tell you, that's how it always starts. It always starts with those nerds. I'm telling you, it starts with the nerds who get pushed around on the playground, who get their kibbles and bits. Oh, that's for the dog. Wait a minute. Who get their M&Ms. They get their M&Ms stolen on the playground. You know, their juice boxes just snatched out their hands. And then one day they just say, not today, Satan. Not today. And they just become the ultimate warrior. So I'm waiting for Kanan to become the ultimate warrior. And I think this season might be it. We might see the light switch turn on because his mother Rock is giving him much more responsibilities when it comes to the street life. And Kanan is subscribing to a life of crime. Darling, I'm about to give you something. Just so you can go watch the show. Darling, Rock says, I just need you to pick up the money and take it to the stash house. Kanan get 50 feet out the door. Not enough time for the wind to hit him. And the neighboring thugs roll up in a car, guns out. And they're like, first of all, give me that rope chain your friend got on, and then give me your bag. And Kanan's like, oh my gosh, that's where the money is in. How do you start on day one? 5 seconds into your new job, and you're already getting jacked. Real easy. But Kanan said, y'all not going to be sunning me out in these streets. So Kanan goes to this girl that he's seeing. She's not the girlfriend yet. And he's like, I need a knife. And I'm screaming at the television show, how somebody jack you with a gun, but you want to bring a knife to the gunfight? I said, Kanan, he is not ready yet. And there's going to be a whole lot of slow singing and flower bringing in the next episode. So the mother of the girl that he's dating, sleeping with, she like, come here, baby. Smoking her cigarette. Come in the kitchen. And she tells the daughter, don't ever stand in the way of a man when he's trying to handle his business. I said, if this mother isn't toxic. So anyway, she takes Kanan into the kitchen and she gives him this ashy looking gun that looks like it hasn't been fired since the Civil War, child. Since the Emancipation Proclamation. I was saying, Kanan, don't take that gun. It's going to backfire. It won't shoot nothing but powder dust, honey. Don't do it. The mother's trying to set you up. But it worked. But he didn't have to fire it, though. Because I was waiting to see. I wanted to really see what that gun gonna do. That gun looked like it needed an oil change for right now. So if you haven't been watching Raising Kanan, you have to watch it. But we're going to bring London in so that he can talk about his character, Marvin, or Uncle Marvin. My daughter and I, we had this huge debate. Is he called Marvin, Uncle Marvin? I think both names are interchangeable depending on what the storyline is for the week. But child, Marvin, aka Uncle Marvin, he's in therapy. Just learning how to communicate using his mouth. So this season is on fire. I love it, love it, love it. Tuned in every single week. And make sure you stay tuned in to Raising Kanan. And make sure that you stay tuned in to Sanya On-Air. But like I said, make sure you subscribe, children. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you shop using Instacart and the Sanya On-Air special code. Make sure that you also shop Sanya On-Air apparel and let your clothing be the statement. Also, you can follow me on my website, www.SanyaOn-Air.net. Make sure you follow me there. I had some thoughts in my head about the website, but I can't tell you what I was thinking about. So just make sure that you head on over to www.SanyaOn-Air.net. So now that is all over, because I'm excited to talk to London. So let's just bring on in London Brown. Why did I say his name like that? Hi, London.
How are you? Can you see me and hear me okay?
Yes, I can. What were you on set today?
Always working. Everything is nonstop. There we go.
I understand, the working actor. You know, I was just waiting for you. Now, I went to go see Woman is King with Viola Davis last night.
What'd you think of that?
Amazing. Amazing. Like, I have to go watch it a second time. I really do.
Oh, beautiful. That's lovely.
Yeah. Do you plan
to
go to the theater to watch it?
I'm gonna see. First, I want to actually find out what the story is about, because I just kind of been seeing. I know she's been training for something. I didn't know what the project actually was. I know she's been, in the gym and so forth. So I'm gonna try to figure out what's going on with that. But I try to definitely watch our projects and keep them going.
Yeah, it was definitely worth seeing a different narrative. It's about African women who are warriors, who lead the battlefield. It's something that I never saw before. But after I came in from the theater, it was 12 o'clock midnight. And I said, okay, Raising Kanan is now streaming, so I have to watch that. So I saw the recent episode. Let me tell you something, London. You are doing something with the character of Marvin that, I'm just seeing the development of him. What are you doing differently with Marvin in season 2 that you hadn't done in season 1?
I'm just allowing Marvin to be, some of this is in the writing as far as him being vulnerable, but London's personal goal is to make sure that I create energy around Marvin, because I'm on a show with a lot of talented people. A lot of, Patina has already won her Tony. The Haley Kilgore, who plays my daughter, she performs on Broadway. Joey is a rapper, and he already has a lot of presence. Omar Epps has his resume. Like, and the list goes on. Like, Malcolm is an artist as well outside of acting.
Mm-hmm.
Got Makai, who is also a very talented lead in this project as well. So my whole thing is just to find ways to cut out a small section for Marvin to not get lost in the sauce, as I said. You know what I mean? Because I'm around a lot of talented, dope actors.
Yeah. I'm
not trying to just be what people initially thought that Marvin was, which was, he's just the uncle that's eating. He's always eating and messing up. That's the surface. That's easy to play.
Right.
But I'm trying to play some other layers so that when people watch Marvin, they say, man, we don't know what we finna get from Marvin.
Yeah.
Because he got some other stuff going on. So I'm just trying to hold my weight and hold it down.
You're definitely doing that, because as an audience member, there's an echo. I'm just trying to figure out if you're going to have a relationship with your therapist.
Yeah, I think everyone is excited about that idea. Without giving too much away, I think that people are understanding that Marvin is a very charming guy. He's not going into the therapy sessions looking for a woman, but I think that women are attracted to Marvin because there is a part of him that's cool, calm, and collected. So where that's going to go, I don't really know, because some people think that we don't know because as actors, I think some people feel like we watch all 10 episodes or whatever it is months ahead of everybody else. It's new to us, like it's new to y'all. We don't know what's going on with the storyline. We shoot out of order, so we don't really know. So we'll see what's going on.
Well, yeah, because I was kind of surprised to find that out that you were still filming. So I'm just like, well, she is watching it with us. So as you're watching it with the audience, what were you surprised to see?
Well, low key, I still need to actually watch the show. I haven't really watched the show.
Why?
I catch snippets of it because people send me enough memes and enough clips of them watching it, so I kind of know what's going on. I just I watch Hell's Kitchen if I'm gonna watch something, or honestly, between that and studying for the next episode. Like, I work Monday, so when most people watching the show Sunday night, I'm studying to be ready for Monday. So I'm gonna get to it. I did watch a little bit, so I can be ready for this interview. So I think I kind of know something about what's going on. But the fans of the show, let me know what's really happening with it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will definitely let you know. Every time the show airs, the episode airs, I go right on social media and people are talking about it for a whole week. So people are definitely tuned in. Do you have any kids?
I don't have any kids.
So how difficult is it, or how do you prepare when you're having scenes with your on-screen daughter? Because that storyline right there, we are curious as to how it's going to develop. How do you prepare for that?
You know, really, from my approach with acting is to try to be as present as I can be. I don't try to convolute everything with outside ideas. Let me really listen and respond accordingly. And I think being present has gotten me through the first couple of seasons. And like I said, I don't know what it's like to have a daughter, but I do know what it's like to experience pain. I know what it's like to do things that I wish I wouldn't have done. So I'm dealing from the foundation of that. You know, I'm not gonna physically be putting my hands on a woman without the invite. You know what I mean? It's different because if you're dealing with a woman on a libidinous level, and that's different. But for what Marvin is doing on the show, he was out of pocket. And I know what it's like to have moved and done things out of pocket. I know what it's like to, again, move impulsively. That ain't the way to go. Yeah. So my whole thing, even on my page, on my Instagram page, is always to slow down and to help people to learn to slow down and process. Like, before just reacting emotionally, take a moment, breathe. And so infamously, people love this whole idea of being able to breathe. That was included. Don't get me wrong, the dialogue was the dialogue. But the physicality of that, sometimes people need to slow down and breathe so they can understand. Just take a moment sometimes. Don't always react. Marvin knows he messed up. That's why he spends the whole the second half as people come back to the show. Marvin's trying to say, listen, man. And even with his sister, she checks him. Listen. Yeah. You was out of pocket, brother. You need to get yourself together. I was trying to respect your space, but as a sister and as a woman, you out of pocket. And I think Marvin definitely knows that he messed up, and he's trying to rectify, his situation, get it together. But ultimately, it's me being present and just trying to really listen to the great dialogue that's written that allows me to understand what's going on. Because I don't know anything about domestic violence, and that's not my lane. But the dialogue is written so well. Between that and being present, it helps me to get through these things.
So when it comes to that storyline, you and your daughter, you got physical. What type of feedback did you receive? Because so many people just like calling you as Marvin, and they don't separate London. What feedback did you get from the?
It depends. Obviously, we're shooting in New York, so I run to different vibes all the time. I run into I run to a lot of street guys who know exactly who Marvin is. Hey man, hey brother, hey listen man, I'm Marvin. You know what I'm saying? I knew it didn't like me out there. You everybody don't want to give you respect and all of that. But listen, man, I know I get those guys. I get the other women like, you're not right for hitting your daughter because like your daughter, what she did nothing wrong to you. You wrong for that, Marvin. You wrong. I get that.
Wait a minute. Like, you're not gonna talk about us New Yorkers like that.
No, I'm just explaining to people that I run into.
Okay.
Like, you're not right, but you put your hand on your daughter like that. Like she did nothing to you. Like, what's wrong with you? I run into a lot of different people. So it's okay. But what I try to explain to people is that Marvin is a very complex guy who's working through his issues. You know what I mean? And I think, again, season 1, people thought that Marvin was just the uncle who be eating and messing up. But when they get into season 2, they realize that Rock is actually leaning to Marvin for his angle and for some strength and some things. She give him a lot more responsibilities. And at the end of the day, Marvin is a very loyal guy. He was there to get his brother in the burning house. He went in there. He didn't care. When everybody talking about the car and everything like that, when his nephew was possibly being, not possibly, but when his nephew was endangered, Marvin didn't care about the fancy Mercedes Benz. He went in there to save his brother.
Yeah.
He retaliated against Neek when he found out Neek was the guy responsible for potentially taking out his brother. So when people understand Marvin on a core level, they understand it like, yo, Marvin is not perfect, but he loves his family.
Yeah.
He'll be there. Sometimes he'll be there to a fault. Like he might not even know. He may not think about the end results. All Marvin know, at least in season 1 going into season 2, he got to be there. He got to represent.
Yeah.
Through therapy, because and especially with all the high interests of dealing with mental health, Marvin, even though it was court ordered, Marvin is realizing that, yo, okay, I didn't want to be in this, getting this anger management stuff going, but yo, since I've been here, I've actually learned some things. I'm learning to slow down, to process, to breathe a little bit. It's not going to end everything, but at least he's taking a moment to slow down and to say, you know what? Let me breathe. I don't have to retaliate. This brother rolled up on my foot. Calm down. And sometimes that's all people need. It's just to at least be aware that, listen, I got a post about this, which is everything isn't worth fussing about.
Yeah.
Something you got to be able to just let go. Somebody cut you off in a lane. And we know people are so sensitive as far as emotionally triggered. We're seeing on Instagram, we're finding young rappers and different people passing away. Peace be upon them. Sometimes we got to just slow down and say, yo, is it worth it?
Yeah.
We got plenty of things to fuss about, but is it worth fussing? Is it worth our time and energy? And if it's not, as we mature emotionally, we're able to let things kind of blow over and say, you know what, that person cut me off, but it's okay. I'm gonna own my peace. Because people are out here, it'd be 7, you may have experienced this, it'd be 7 a.m, people wake up mad. You're like, why are you mad?
Yeah.
7 a.m. They haven't discovered that sort of inner peace to let things go. I don't mean to be verbose about this.
No. I love it because I think people need to really talk about the trauma that exists in this world. There's so much trauma. I mean, you open up your social media page, or as soon as you walk out your front door, you're bombarded with all of these images. It's just too much and it's overwhelming. And I was going to get to this much later, but I'm going to jump into it now because I'm really interested in the person, not the character. And I'm always tuned into, well, I wouldn't say always, but sometimes your white tea talk on Instagram. What made you start just spreading messages out to your community instead of posting about your show?
You know what? I was doing these breakdowns about life, about human behavior. and psychology and that sort of thing, but I was sharing them on my stories. And what I realized is that when I put them on the story, they disappear. But people were still raising these questions in my DMs or when I went to them in person. And in addition to that, I was always being told, London, you got to create some content. You need to be sharing more, because I wasn't really posting and sharing anything. I would just go live. I would share my story. And I realized that my voice is in my breakdowns, which is, I have friends who do voiceovers. So shout out to Tony Baker, my buddy. I have friends who do sketches. You know, my guy Reggie. It's just a lot of different people who do their social media with a lot of comedy and different things. For me, I didn't feel like that was my lane. I didn't know what my voice was. But I discovered my voice being in the fact that I do these breakdowns. And so as opposed to trying to create content in these special ideas, I realized that I am the content.
Right.
Like what I'm sharing is coming from a very grounded place of truth. And so a lot of people, especially young Black men, they don't have a father sometimes. They don't have a father. They don't have an older brother. They don't have an OG, someone around to help them explain life.
Yeah. So
they're going around moving through life nefariously and just moving. And no one has ever said, yo, no one's ever slowed Marvin down, if you will. They say, yo, wait, there's a better way to move. Don't move like that. Don't calm down. So with my breakdowns or these white tea talks, they came out of a place where I just wanted people to be aware of some things that I didn't know. I had to learn some of this stuff out in my 20s. Yeah. And going through bad relationships, going through moving young and immature. And I'm like, yo, y'all don't have to move like this.
Right.
Let me break this stuff down. For example, when I talk about, there's one I talk about as far as, there's a couple of different things. Okay, here's a simple one. A lot of times, we'll get on the phone. And
I know where you're going.
We get on the phone, and some people don't know they talk too much. Right? Now, my advice to them, or my suggestion, is to create what I call an out.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you're on the phone, sometimes when you pick up the phone, you call somebody, one of the first things that I always do is say, yo, how you doing? All right, good morning. Hey, do you have a couple minutes? It allows the person to say, yo, I got a couple minutes. Or if they run into the gym, they run into the bank, they say, yo, hit me later. I start off that way. This way, the other person on the other end don't have to feel bad about not getting the phone. I give them an out and say, yo, man, this got a couple minutes. Or even after talking, let's say for an hour, I say, listen, man, I know you got the rest of your day. Go to your day. And I give them the out. This way, the person says, oh, no, we keep talking, man. I'm at the house, man. I got some time. Or they say, yo, I got to go pick up my son from daycare. Right. So, but a lot of people don't think like this.
I started laughing as you were saying that because I'm guilty. I'm going to ask that question. Like, do you have a few moments? Because let me tell you what my out is. If I'm on the phone and I'm ready to hang out. Oh, I can't hear you. There's a bad connection. And I just keep the phone.
That's what I'm saying. Now, see, what I'm saying, exactly. So people, now we start going into those kind of deceitful things, which we all been guilty of. We added the reception. We had the call dropped. What I'm saying is like, listen, when somebody's talking too much, it's not on us because what you did, you're the person, what I would like to call, you're the victim on the phone. You're the person that's like, yo, it's my friend. I know they want to talk. What I'm breaking down is for the other person to say, your friend, I would have told her when she's on the phone with you, I would have said, listen, give her an out. What you mean? Let her create a space, a gap in this conversation that allows your friend to leave if she needs to leave. Because some people will say, let's say, listen, London, you know, if I want to be on the phone, London, I say I got something to do. I gotta go. I'm like, sometimes you have conversations.
Right.
You can't get off the phone with people that quickly. If it's your moms, your grandmoms, if it's a mentor, if it's your kids, sometimes you can't get off the phone like that. So a polite way for people giving the call is to create an out.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be vociferous about this. I get way too passionate about these breakdowns because I understand that people don't get it. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but I love it because
I'll give you an out. No more. Go ahead.
I love it because, like, I'm always trying to teach my friends. Like, I have a busy schedule. Like, I even had to tell them between the hours of 8 p.m. and 12 p.m. No bad news. No bad news.
That's
Which
I have a breakdown about that. Some people wake up, call you with negative energy. I have to slow people down and say, listen, not today. I mean, I'm just saying, I got fired from my job, man. We not doing it over here. Right. We starting the day off positive, strong. Yes. People must look. The mind must bring forth that which consistently occupies it, as Dr. Johnson says. So many people, they start off and they focus on the negative.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, when you get a negative thought, slow down, process, and say, what positive things do I want to come out of this?
Yeah.
But people, they can't see the positive.
No.
Just the conditioning, negative. This is not working out. This raining today. My car don't work. Hold on.
Yeah.
Your car don't work. Let's slow down. You have a car.
Right.
It may not be as new, but you got a car. You mad because it's raining outside. Where are you looking at the weather from? My apartment. You have a place to stay.
Right.
These are the small things of life that people just tend to negate. Focus on the negative. And I try to eradicate those things from my mind. Now, I'm a work in process. I'm not perfect by any means.
We all are. I think that we stop being a working process once you close your eyes and you're dead.
Boom.
You know? But I also want to talk about another one of your messages on your White People Talk when you talked about trauma word or triggering words, like rest in peace.
Oh, yeah.
That's a trigger for me currently. Or even when people ask, didn't you have a good day yesterday? Like, if you haven't gone to the funeral home to pay the funeral home or made sure that the makeup was okay or the clothes was okay, like, the conversation needs to be a little bit more jumpy. And I was glad that you brought that up. Talk about that.
Yes, let me humbly give a major shout out to David Arnold.
Yes.
He was a comedian from Cleveland, I believe. Cleveland, Ohio. He was a teacher. He was just a guru of comedy, and he passed away about a week ago. And for the comedy community, it was very difficult for us. It was very rough for us. And I'm gonna just try to be cool. I'll speak about David Arnold. It's good. It was a good guy, you know. And so with David Arnold, what I realized is this: a lot of times people are really quick to say, you know, rest in peace and rest in heaven, and I get it. Those saying and those words are traditionally what people say because that's what we've been conditioned to say, and we're just trying to show our love and appreciation for the person, you know. But what I realized, because I lost my brother in 2015, I lost my younger brother. He was gunned down, you know. He was shot down in the streets 14 times and all of that stuff. Now, this is public. That's why I don't feel no type of way about sharing. It's already out there. But what I realize is that a lot of times people will say things and not understanding the impact of words. That's why I love words. and that's why I'm always trying to speak positively and push those things, because I understand the impact of words, especially as a stand-up and as an artist. What people aren't understanding, again, I understand that people say rest in peace because they're trying to show love and respect to the person that has transitioned. But my breakdowns are just to show a different angle to how we go about through life. So the point of that particular post is this, which is, and I lost my friend Teddy Ray, a comedian out of South Central LA. He was about a month ago, and there was another comedian who passed away before that. This is all within like a month. What I'm saying is this: before being so quickly to say rest in peace, a sorry for your loss, and that sort of thing, slow down and process and consider how the other person or how the family is grieving through these times. When I lost my brother, I remember going on Facebook and everybody, all the words were rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace. And you read a whole blog, a whole page of rest in peace. And what I remember feeling for me and some of my family members was all that rest in peace stuff served as a reminder that my brother wasn't coming back. Every time you read the words and you see the things coming up, and I know a lot of people are not thinking about that stuff because they ain't been on the other side of it.
Right.
All they know is, and I'm not judging anybody because I understand. I'm glad that people haven't been able to, in some situations, they haven't lost anybody significantly close to them. They lost some friends from work. They lost some co-workers. They lost some relationships and some family members from over there.
Right.
I'm not saying I understand your pain, but I understand how people can be hurt.
Right.
What I'm saying is totally different. When you lose somebody they are responsible for why you are in existence today. When you lose a mom, you lose a brother, somebody you live with, you've grown up with. When you have to deal with the funeral arrangements, as I broke it down on my page, it's not the same thing. When you because a lot of people, and no disrespect, a lot of people have gone, they've gotten the call, they say, man, I lost my loved one, and they show up to the funeral.
Right.
They pick out their outfit. They go grab a croissant sandwich and some coffee, some orange juice, and they show up and they do what's called, they show respect. They're there. They may shed a tear or two, and then after that, they go later on that day. They go to the barbecue. I'm saying, I understand you feel some stuff. But as someone who has dealt with the core pain, I'm the guy, because my mother wasn't in a position necessarily to set up everything. I said, Mom, let me carry the burden that you have losing your son. I got you. What we got to do? All right, Mom, let me go meet with the church and put the payment down. My stepfather wasn't solid enough to deal with the passing of his son. So I got to go look at the body, make sure the suit is right. I got to go pick out the suit from the suit outlet. I'm the guy shout out to my friend Unique out of Atlanta, Georgia. I met her once. She came to a comedy show of mine, but we met before that. I forgot I don't know how we even met on Instagram, but she was the one I spoke with to arrange the photos and the obituary. We hadn't even met at that point, I don't think. And we just exchanging information. I'm emailing her the photos. I'm saying, put that picture right there. I want the basketball theme. I want this, I want that. I'm the guy making sure things are ran. I'm the one who has to sit in the front row.
Right.
My sibling. So a lot of people don't understand that. So when and not to be verbose about this again, but understanding that a lot of people sometimes they don't see the other side of these angles or these topics that I talk about. I'm not saying that I don't have that kind of ego to say that the London way is the only way. That ain't about. It's not about. I would never be that self-aggrandizing. I'm just simply here to propose an idea. Say, listen, I know you have it your way. Let me give you another angle to possibly consider, and say, yo, because what I realized, even as I went through, as I shared that post, a lot of people was able to identify with what I was saying, which is, man, when you lose somebody close, when you lose a son, you lose a brother, you lose or a best friend, when you lose somebody that close, your perception of life, time, the world, your relationships, and how you build with people changes. So now, after losing my brother was very devastating. What are the positives, though? Going back to what we talked about earlier, being able to see the positives. I became much more empathetic person. I care about how other people feel and my impact on our connection when I engage with them. When people leave me, do they feel uplifted? Do people feel progressive? Do they feel inspired? You know, when I think about homeless people, you know, or I think about those who are destitute, what can I do when I leave them to make them feel seen and heard in different things? We don't have that kind of time. And losing my friend David Arnold, he was he was finally getting the recognition that he deserved for all the hard work. The comedians, we knew how dope he was. We was around him. We were students of him and everything else. The world didn't know, but everybody around David, shout out to Julie and his kids. Shout out to Julie and his kids. We all knew about how dope David was. The world was just coming around to understanding what we've been knew 10, 15 years. We already knew David was the guy. He was a comedian's comedian and everything else. So when we have with that kind of loss, it really just wakens your heart up and you say, man, we don't know how long we're here. So let's live life impactfully. Let's make sure that when people leave us, they're better. He was so humble to just teach us what comedy was, what it is to be a writer, what it is to craft jokes, be a solid person, redeem yourself, as he mentioned in his special, doing drugs, and then coming out on top and being a family man and being a great father and a great friend. You have to be, first of all, you have to be a secure guy to even share knowledge. He's a very secure guy. He never was funny acting. Not just with me and the people I know. He didn't have to teach us how to write and craft jokes. He could have just been selfish and been bitter, one of these bitter comedians. But everything that started to happen for him, when you think about it, it was because he was so giving. It was his time. I mean, I'm so humbled and to even just to have known David Arnold and to be a student of his and to be able to call him. And so how connecting that loss to the losses that I've experienced is that ultimately we got to figure out what are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like things need to count. And so with my white tea talks, circling all to bring it back around, my white tea talks are to help people hopefully be progressive on some sort of level within their lives, so that if they can't say they didn't know. If you connected with London, when you leave or you disconnect, you say, you know what? I spoke with London, but I did learn something.
Yeah.
I was better. I did see life in a different kind of a way. I stopped by his page. I didn't agree with everything he said, But he did at least challenge me to look at life differently.
Yeah. You've definitely
Yeah,
done
I
that.
just saw
And
that.
just to give you your flowers and just about how your content has inspired me, especially with that post. I don't know if you realize, but this is the 1 year anniversary of when you were on my show the first time, and I just suffered the loss of my mom. And her birthday was the other day, and I was going to go on social media and wish her a happy birthday. And I said, no, I can't do that because I know it's going to be a trigger. Everyone's going to comment, rest in peace, and it's going to be a reminder. And I don't think that people understand that those would be triggering words for me because I had to go through it. I had to pick out her makeup. I had to pick out her outfit. I had to pick out what photo was going to be on her program. I had to pick out who was going to eulogize her. So they don't understand that those traditional words that we are conditioned to automatically say, it can be triggered for people who are really in the trenches going through the process. So your post is a reminder for me, he understands that those are triggering words. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. But also as a comedian, do you feel you're getting your flowers?
You know, do I feel I'm getting my flowers? To a degree. Because, for example, when I walk the streets, part of the reason that I give the shout outs that I give out is because I appreciate people. People ain't got to talk to me. I don't expect people to talk to me, for sure. So when people say, yo, Uncle Marvin or Reggie, whatever they call me, they know me from. It's very humbling for me because I know, again, people ain't got to talk to me. So I try, as often as I can, I try to take a couple moments to speak to people. And even when they talk to me, I'll go out of my way to say, let's do the photo. Yo, for real, come on. Bring it on in, come on. Nice. I hug and I connect with people because I understand that. I know, let me give you this quick story. I remember I was doing some press in DC a couple years ago. And I've always been a fan of Robert Glasper. Robert Glasper is a talented musician, writer, composer, and everything else. You know, and he's the music guy behind a lot of people, you know, behind the Commons, the Mos Def, the Talibs, the Erykah Badu, the Jill Scotts, and everybody else. He's always involved with that what people coin as like the neo soul thing. He's just a talented jazz musician, period. I don't even want to say anything wrong about him. I had a chance to meet Robert Glasper a few years ago, and I found out he was performing the same city I was doing press with, and it worked out. I was able to meet him, and when I met him, I remember as busy as he was during that show. He had 2 shows. I met him in between shows. He took that time to speak to me and acknowledge me, and it wasn't like, oh, you like my music? Oh, okay, thanks. You want to take a picture? It wasn't quick. It wasn't rushed. We didn't spend a lot of time, but we spent enough time, and he made me feel seen and heard. Mm-hmm. I know what that feels like to be on that side, because I thought he was dope anyway. But when I met him, everything I thought he was. I said, so, to the point where by the time we ended the conversation, I just knew that we was connected. Very humble and just grounded and we spoke the same language. And so I come to find out that I was a fan of his, but he was a fan of mine. He watched my HBO show at the time. He watched Ballers, and it was that connection. So I'm saying that to say that this. When I meet people, I know what it feels like to just want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. So I try to slow down. Back to my thing. I try to slow down the process. And when I meet people, I want people to feel that thing that I felt when I met Robert Glasper. Mm-hmm. And I said, man, just taking some time to. So when you asked if I got my flowers, there's a part of me that feels like I have, because when I run into people on the street and they say, I'm running to, the veterans in the hood that watch the park. Yo, man, y'all, Jay, man, we playing that part that was me. And that's a woman. If she been in the hood on, she been in the hood on.
A woman named Geraldine.
Right. I know what it's like to, I've been in the hood. And she tells me, and different people in the hood, I was in Times Square the other day, and I'm running to people. I'm running to old white women, Indian people, and black, and all different nationalities, and say, yo, oh my gosh. And when they meet me, because a lot of times people think they see me as a celebrity, so they don't know what they finna get.
Right.
They so used to people acting funny. And I tell people all the time, a lot of times when you run into people and they in the industry and they're acting weird, the industry necessarily wasn't, a lot of times isn't what made them that way. They was already weird or funny acting before they got there. Money only amplifies what what was already there. So, but being on TV and making a little money, that stuff don't make me. I always like to, when I meet people, I like to eradicate all of that and say, who are we on the inside?
Right.
Like, what is our character like? Outside of all the titles, money, and the tangible things, monetary ideas, who are we at our core? That's who I'm trying to connect to. So when I meet people and they say, yo, man, I like your work. Can I get a photo? Please come over here.
Nice.
Let me embrace you. When we connect, you feel my energy towards you, my appreciation for you. So do I feel like I got my flowers? I feel like I have gotten some flowers, but I also feel like I've been slept on, or I'm being slept on, and it's okay. I don't mind that. I've been slept on forever. That's why with this show and with every scene, I'm trying to make everything count.
Yes. So
when they say, at the end of the day, they say, you know what? Every time we engage with him or when we watched him, whatever, we felt something. I'm not saying everybody got to agree with me. I'm not saying everybody going to like me. I'm not saying people haven't had bad engagements with me. But at the end of the day, they're going to remember me. At least that's all I'm going for. And I don't never want to do anything to embarrass my mother.
I hear that.
That's the real core of me. I want to make my mother proud.
What would my mama say is always in the back of my head, because we don't want to embarrass that. I just can remember being in elementary school, and if they told me that my mother was coming up to the school, I just imagine her walking down the hallway, that walk and that look on her face, because I already knew what was coming. So I never
right on
my mama. But I was so happy to see you on Raising Kanan, because I was a fan of yours as Reggie on Ballers. That was canceled after 6 seasons, and I was just like, why? Because I was an avid fan.
Wait, let me say it. Let me be clear. It wasn't canceled.
Okay.
It wasn't canceled because we were still #1 on HBO.
Yes.
Dwayne, they just decided to not continue it. Canceled is different. Canceled is low numbers.
Right.
Statistically, it wasn't doing well. No. It was doing well. I think ultimately, what I think is my personal opinion, I think that Dwayne was just too busy for it, low key at the time. But it wasn't canceled. It was doing it.
I'm glad that you cleared that up, because I really thought it was canceled. I said, wait a minute, we're tuned in every week. What's going on?
I know. We could have gone for another.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Because your character, Reggie, like, we love to hate him in the beginning of the seasons, but then that very last season, we saw his growth, his maturation, and we wanted to see more. So you made perfect sense of why the show never came back. We're going to Dwayne Rock.
To what you're saying, that's always my goal when I work on a project, is to evolve characters, to take them from, even though it was important that people didn't like Reggie in season 1. I needed to do something that was going to cause some ruckus or some energy around Fat Reggie, so that he would stick around. Because Reggie was only supposed to be around for a couple episodes, one episodes of Ballers. But through the audition and creating some energy, they decided to make Reggie a leading character as well, and I stayed on for all 5 seasons.
Nice.
But initially, he wasn't supposed to be there that long. But again, this goes back to trying to create characters with layers. So again, even though he was like the leeching friend in season 1, by season 5, he became more responsible.
Yes.
Started taking on a more leadership role and trying to get his stuff together for his boy. And that's what I'm always into, is trying to create layers of these characters so that people can grow with them, and it keeps the characters interesting. Is how I approach it.
We love it. We love it. So you said that you've gotten some of your flowers, but we know that this culture will give you your flowers and then take it away. How do you feel about cancel culture?
You know, ultimately, as far as the cancel culture, people are fickle anyway. People are always vacillating between how they want to feel about you, depending on how you make them feel. At the end of the day, I can't be looking towards people for any sort of validation, gratification, or affirmation. My trust is in God. I can't. People are people.
Right.
People have let me down. They didn't even know they let me down. I learned this lesson when I remember when I learned this lesson, I was like 13, 14. There was a guy from my church. He said, shout out to Kyver. If Kyver ever sees this, and then he know I'm talking about him very clear. My guy Kyver was a guy who went to my church. He said, you're graduating. You got your 8th grade graduation. I want to go pay for you to get a haircut. I was like, oh man, thanks. Because even when my mother couldn't afford no hair, I wasn't the kid who had a haircut every week. My mother got it once a month, maybe something. So this guy was like, yo, I'm gonna pay for you to get your haircut. I was like, all right, great. So I remember this was like on a Tuesday. He said it on a Sunday. He said on Tuesday, we'll, get your haircut. I get out of school on a Tuesday, middle school, 2:30, whatever it was. And then I'm like, okay, 3 o'clock. I'm like, okay, we still got some time. 4:30. I'm like, okay, the barbershop gonna close in a minute. 7:30. I'm like, oh shoot, the barbershop is closed. I got 8. Having a haircut for important events for Black people is a real thing. Well, first, having hair together is a thing. So I'm like, man, the barbershop closed. I got graduation tomorrow. Everybody gonna have a haircut except me. I took the initiative to cut my own hair. It was a bowl cut. I didn't really know I was gonna put a belt around my head.
A belt.
Whatever haircut I had, it looked like I cut my haircut blind, or in the dark. The blind. It looked like I cut my hair in the dark. Let me put it that way. So the lesson in that though was, one, sometimes you can't depend on people. I put all my trust in when I was 13 that I was gonna get a haircut. He didn't come through.
Oh,
so I was hurt by that. I was hurt by him. I was hurt by that. But again, finding the positive in that was from that. I said, I'm never going to put my situation in the hands of somebody else. I'm gonna learn to cut my hair, and I'm whenever I want to get fly, I have the ability to cut my hair at that point. And I learned how to cut my hair, and I started cutting hair and everything else. So I'm not mad at him for that, because I got my life lesson out of that. Going back to your question, though, again, I don't reside in people. People are always fickle. They're always in some space of ambivalence about how they're going to deal with you. Depending on how they woke up, they're going to treat you funny based on their own insecurities. They're going to be dealing with you in some weird roundabout way. It's cool. I know what people are. I know where they are and how they are. I stay back. I let people do what they do, and I function on my own thing. You know what I mean? So whether people are up and down, that's cool. Be you. Our reputation is based on our consistency. So at the end of the day, when my friends look at me, God forbid anything happen to me, they able to say, you know what? London was very consistent.
Right.
We didn't like him. We didn't agree with him. Whatever. He was always him. He was always very grounded. He was always in his truth.
Mm.
I don't care if people like what I'm wearing or how I'm doing. You can always say London did the London thing. He did it his way.
Right.
And that's what at the end of the night, we got to be able to sleep. We got to be able to look ourselves in the mirror and say, you know what? Was I honest to myself?
Right.
I know there are people in this world who felt like they didn't like the choices I made with them and different things. But London Brown got to look at himself in the mirror and say, was I true to myself?
Mm-hmm.
Was I, for me, you know what I mean? Outside of being anything religious or anything, London would do. I know that people have I've hurt people's feelings along the way. But I know when I look myself in the mirror,
you can live with yourself.
I talk to myself. I know where my heart is. I'm not out here trying to be vindictive. That's why I never understood guys like when they upset with a woman or when a woman is upset with a man, they want to go and be vindictive. They want to key the car. They want to burn the clothes up, bleach the clothes up. If I don't disagree with something that a woman's doing or anybody, something, I know in my heart.
Yeah.
I'm not a mean person. I'm not that kind of a guy. I don't feel like if a woman don't like me or somebody don't agree with something I have to say, I gotta be mean. I don't like mean energy. That's not in my proclivity. I don't come from that. You know what I mean? That's just not my vibe. So, at the end of the day, I don't care what people say. I know me. So I'm able to say, man, I wasn't trying to be funny acting with you. If I didn't speak to you, I probably really didn't see you. I had bad eyes growing up. I was in my own head. I was thinking about whatever. I don't function in a negative space. And so I try to be that person. I try to be very solid with myself first before I try to be there with anybody else. So, I get too excited about these questions. So go ahead. Go. I don't know more talking. Go ahead.
No, because I want to ask you just about the comedic space and just your opinion on the topic that is really on everyone's lip. And I kind of have an idea of what you're going to say because you're all about politics. So I just want your opinion on this. How do you feel about Aries Spears, Tiffany Haddish fiasco?
What I feel about that situation is sometimes we make these choices at the time because for whatever reason we have an idea about what we're doing, and at the time and where we are mentally, it makes sense for that time. But now, as we grow and as we move forward, as we level up, we look back on a lot of things. We say, you know what, maybe that wasn't the best move, But at the time, your perspective, your spectrum on things, it makes sense. But we all grow and we all level up. I shouldn't say we all grow up. We all level up. We want to. Mm-hmm. Most of us want to grow. I can say that we do, but most of us want to because some people don't grow.
They don't.
Exactly where they are. They like it there because that's where it's comfortable for them. Mm-hmm. But for those who want to be progressive, we make these choices and we say, you know what? There's two things when we make mistakes or when we do things that we probably shouldn't do. We either when we don't learn when we don't learn life lessons. Let me try to something that's going to be a nice sound bite for you or for your team. When we do things, when we make mistakes and so forth, if we don't gain the life lesson that we're supposed to gain from these things, they'll double back in a circle around. Mm-hmm. So when we go through these things, we say, was that progressive for me? Did it move me forward? Did that lead me to my end goal or not? And if it didn't, we have to say, okay, well, why did it? What caused that situation to put a roadblock in front of me? Why didn't I get the lesson? We got to self-reflect and be self-aware to self-reflect and say, okay, you know what? That wasn't a move. Now looking back, I realize that probably wasn't the best move. In whatever we do, we say, okay, I got my lesson. I'm probably going to approach that situation differently moving forward.
Mhm.
and then we grow. So to sum up your question, which is this: life will give us lessons. What we do with those lessons determines our progression or our stagnant state. And so with anything that I've done that may not have been the best move, I try to learn what I need to learn so that I don't have to repeat those lessons again, because those lessons are hard to deal with, or they can be. So that's my answer to that.
I got it. You know, as you were talking, I said, okay, what's the lessons in what he's saying? So years ago, about 20 years ago, I came up with the acronym for LIFE, which is lessons intended for empowerment, right? So now as you were talking, now I'm going to do, whenever I'm about to do something or say something, I'm going to slow down the process and ask myself, is this progressive enough to move me in the direction of my end goal?
That's it. We as people, we complicate life, but it has to be that, which is slow down.
Slow down.
Like I said, does this action, does it help me get to where I'm trying to go?
Yeah.
If it doesn't, it's not to say throw it all away. Hold on, some things you gotta throw away. Just put it to the side.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't even have the discipline to focus on what it is they want. And discipline is everything. Everybody talk about, motivation. Motivation is emotional. It's up and down. Mm-hmm. If I went to the gym, or if I focus on my craft or my artwork as an artist based on if I felt like doing it, or if I was motivated to do it, it wouldn't get done. There are plenty reasons to not move forward especially if you're in New York, between bad weather, between co-workers' attitudes, between weight gain, loss, between people transitioning and death, and your grades and your education, how you was raised, and the injustices of the system. With all of that, at the end of the day, you got to tap in and say, yo, what's my end goal? And making sure everything lines up with that. We have to do something every day that puts us closer to where we want to be. You know what I mean? But that takes discipline. Mm-hmm. Like Dr. Johnson describes it, the ability to do what we need to do. The things that we got to do, that we need to do, that has to be done, whether we like it or not. It's not about if you feel like it. It's not about if you want to do it. Do you have the discipline to say, I don't feel like doing this, but I know it got to be done. Mm-hmm. Do you have that? And that's the separating factor between those who are progressive and those who aren't. Everybody got no discipline.
They damn sure don't. And I meant that damn.
I know you did. It sounded very black. I like how you said it. It was very grounded.
It sounded like that Geraldine New Yorker smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. I felt what you said about that.
But you keep mentioning a Dr. Johnson. What Dr. Johnson are you talking about? Are you talking about Dr. Umar Johnson?
Umar Johnson.
See, we on the same page.
I know, absolutely, and I try to acknowledge him, and I say I use his last name because sometimes, I'm trying to keep things from being flagged and different things.
I know.
But I mean, I respect his words.
Me too.
His angle and everything. So I get it, man. I get it.
Me too. As I took my whole family to visit my mom at the cemetery yesterday, and the whole 2-hour ride, I had Dr. Umar Johnson playing on my phone. Oh, y'all gonna get this lesson.
You gonna get this work. But when after you listen to a lecture, different things, you be like, it just be like, again, it just grounded. And one thing I like about, even if people, I understand that some people can't handle how he says it. What at the end of the day, you there, at least for me, there's some grounded things that I leave when I say, yo, I get exactly. Yeah, I do. I know everybody don't get it, but London Brown gets it. I understand. I said, yo, man, that's very solid, man. I get his angle for sure. I get it.
Me too. But just one final thing, because we do have to wrap up this conversation. In your best Marvin voice, tell my audience why they should be tuned in to Raising Kanan every single week.
Marvin voice. I think everybody should be watching this show because it's really good. You know what I mean? The way Patina does a good job, and Joy, Haley, Makai, Malcolm, Omar, and everybody else. I think you guys should watch the show because you're gonna enjoy it as long as you slow down and you breathe, yo. You gotta breathe. You gotta breathe out here. Yes.
I love it. London, thank you so much for trusting my podcast once again and blessing me with your energy. I am sending continued blessings to you and your family. Thank you for your encouraging words and your life blessings. I'll be tuned in, Kanan, especially your white people, because you get it, brother.
Thank you. I'm glad we worked it out and figured out. I knew I had to talk to you. I knew it, and it's even better because I didn't even know I didn't know you were the same person. Wasn't gonna lie. I said, oh yeah, I definitely remember her. I didn't even know from my messages that we had connected the year before. So I'm so glad we worked it out.
Yes.
It was great. It's always great talking to you. So thank you, kind.
Yeah. I just trusted the process. I slowed down, and I knew it was going to happen. Take care, London.
Thank you. And tag me to the stuff so I can repost it and all that good stuff.
I will. Bye-bye.
I appreciate you. All right.
Bye-bye. There you have it, London Brown. When I tell you, I knew. Let me just give you some backdrop about this. As you heard at the onset of this conversation, they're still filming. They're still filming Raising Kanan, and he's on set right now. And we kept booking this interview or this conversation. Something kept happening. I was in the studio last week, just all set to go. Did not happen. I didn't even think it was going to happen today. I'm in the studio, and I said, okay, he's a little bit late. But I trusted the process. And just like he said, slow down. Just slow down. I'm intentional with the energy that I put out there in the universe because I want it to return back to me. I claim that. I believe that. I own that. So it was inevitable for us to have this second conversation a year to the day, the first time that London blessed my show. So for him to agree to a second conversation, I'm definitely supporting him. He is one of those actors and comedians that you definitely need to be following. We most wholeheartedly need to raise him up. We don't want him to be another talent where we're giving him his flowers and we're posting all on social media. Oh, yeah, I remember when he did this or when he said that, when he transitions. We don't want to do that. That pisses me off. It really does. When I see people on social media, when celebrities pass and they are just posting content, they're posting their picture. It's all rest in peace, rest in heaven, just sleep well. Where were you when they were alive? So this is what I firmly believe, because, we shared our trauma and losing a loved one. And I know for me, if I don't want you to celebrate my wins if you can't celebrate my losses, and also vice versa. I don't want you to celebrate or, just give me some sympathy in my losses when you don't celebrate my wins. It's a real thing. People just live in toxicity. What I've learned is there are a lot of trauma responses. You can ask people a question, they're talking negatively, or once again, when someone passes, everyone wants to mourn. So when it approached my mother's birthday, let me share a quick story. Someone asked me, well, what are you going to do to celebrate your mom? And I said, darling, we do this every single day. It's called legacy maintaining. I don't wait until the anniversary of something to acknowledge. I want to celebrate. I want to acknowledge every single day. That is how you honor someone in their death, not once a year. So I need people to really get right and do better. make sure that you head on over to London Brown's Instagram. I believe it's is London Brown. I'm not sure, but he is on social media on Instagram. And he has this amazing white tea talk where he's just giving just life lessons from the heart. There's no celebrity conversations. It's just this Black man just talking from the heart about what he's been through, just trying to make this world a better place. And I do believe that we need more individuals and more conversations like that, especially on social media. And he also said something. I listened to Dr. Umar Johnson, and he said that he specifically or intentionally didn't mention Dr. Umar Johnson's whole name because he didn't want this content to be flagged. It's a shame that when you have content creators who are giving meaningful content, that social media will flag it. They will take it down. But I'm glad that we were able to get into this conversation. I'm also glad that you were able to tune in. So I'm going to close out this conversation. Make sure that you subscribe to Sanya On-Air, which streams across every major streaming platform. Make sure that you shop using Instacart, using my special Sanya On-Air Instacart code. And also make sure that you get yourself some Sanya On-Air apparel. Also make sure that you visit my website, www.SanyaOnAir.net. Also make sure that you follow me on social media, Sanya_on-air. I'm also on TikTok, like I tell you all, just TikTok away. So this has been another amazing edition of Sanya On-Air with celebrity London Brown, who can be seen as Marvin on the hit Starz series, Raising Kanan. He is also a comedian. You can check out his show. So make sure you go to his social media so you can find out where he will be doing his comedy shows. And I love you so much for watching and tuning in. Thank you, dolls. Smooches.